And we are live from the wonderful SportsLink studio in Muncie, Indiana. This is the HB Toss made possible by the creative storytellers of Ball State SportsLink. Hope everyone had a happy holiday season, a good start to the new year. I'm AJ Swiatek, joined by Jordan Klimes. And Jordan, it's playoff season, baby.
Wildcard weekend, super wildcard weekend's what they call it, so it's going to be really exciting.
I mean, that it will, and we will get started without any further ado. We're going to head to the 7th seed Seattle Seahawks, traveling out to San Francisco. Not too far of a ride for them. They'll play the 13-4 49ers. Who do you like in the first matchup of the playoff season?
It's a really interesting matchup because it's a divisional game, and with this new format that we have going on here with the playoffs, more teams getting in, which, some people might have mixed feelings about, but I think it's kind of fun because we can get these divisional games with the Seahawks and the 49ers. So it's going to be really fun. We got Geno Smith and we got Brock Purdy. If I were to tell you that's a playoff game coming into the beginning of the season, you would tell me to leave the room and never come back. But here we are in this situation. And also at the same time, look what Geno's done this year, 8th in the league in passing, 4th when it comes to touchdowns. But you look at the 49ers and they've just been the most rounded team, I think, in the NFL. Even though they haven't had a consistent quarterback. It was Trey Lance that started. It was his job for the rest of the season. Didn't last for long. Garoppolo came back in, got injured. Unfortunate for him. And then Purdy steps in, and they're just continuing to play well. The offense looks great. The defense, arguably even better with what DeMeco Ryans doing over there with that defense. And so I love the Seahawks. I love what they've done. So many young players. Geno is a great story. But I just can't pick against the 49ers. They are really rolling right now in the NFC.
Yeah, Jordan, I like a lot of what you said there because the Seahawks, they're a team nobody expected to make it to the playoffs. They were a team a lot of people were projecting to be picking number 1 overall. So the fact they've made it this far, credit to Pete Carroll, credit to that staff, Geno Smith, you mentioned him, but everyone wants to talk about Kyle Shanahan and that offense he's built. It's run all around the league. But I like that you mentioned DeMeco Ryans because the San Francisco 49ers, point blank period, they have the best defense in the NFL right now. I don't care that Geno Smith throws for however many touchdowns. He's not going to be able to get it done. I don't think the Seahawks are able to put up enough points to be able to knock off this 49ers team. I'm going to stick with you here. I like the 49ers at home, divisional matchup. Like you mentioned, the 7th seed, it provides a little bit more uncertainty in those matchups, but here I don't really think it matters. I think the 49ers, probably the best team in the NFC, one of those shady little sneaky playoff picks that people think could go all the way to the Super Bowl. Seahawks, not so much.
So you said people think. What is your opinion? Do you think they are at that level where they can go to a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy?
I mean, any team in the dance has a shot at a ring, right? I don't know if specifically Brock Purdy will be a reason to get you there, but we talked about Kyle Shanahan. He could scheme up that offense. Christian McCaffrey, one of the best runners we've seen in the league in a while. And defense travels. It wins championships. There's a reason that's an age-long saying. I mean, this is a team that is built the right way. They've got a really good staff up front. And really, I think the only team that could give them a run for their money, a team we won't talk about in today's show because they've got the first-round bye in the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of echoes of what happened when they went to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, where everyone thought they were going to win because they were up by a good amount. Same type of team with a quarterback that not many people might trust at the helm. It was Garoppolo at the time, but it's the same format with that same Shanahan offense. So I think, in my opinion, they do have the ability to make that run.
Jordan, now we're going to move to the AFC. We've got the 5-seeded Chargers. They're going to head to Jacksonville, take on the Jaguars. 1.5-point dogs in this one at home. Who do you like, Jaguars, Chargers?
Well, first off, I'm going to say this is going to be the game of the week, and we're going to be declaring that throughout the rest of the show. This is my game of the week, and here's why. Because, and it's going to sound really stupid, but it's because it's the Jaguars and the Chargers. I know you said that, but it's because these teams, they are known for playing in one-score games. It's insane how many times, really over the last couple of years, the Chargers have been in one-score games, and the Jaguars have been right there with them this year. Everyone talks about what the Vikings have done this year in one-score games, but the Jaguars and the Chargers, they're right there. And the level that both teams are at, it's really about equal. Both are fun, and right now, they're both playing their best football, which is what you want to do at this time of the year. Herbert and the Chargers, they were kind of struggling earlier on in this season, but now they're playing their best. Same thing with Trevor Lawrence and those Jags. It's going to be fun. It's going to be close, as I said before, these always are. But I just love what Justin Herbert's been doing, and he's been turning the ball over. He hasn't been scoring as many touchdowns maybe as you'd like to see, but he's really getting it done through the air, and that's with receivers who are playing this Chargers team. Defensively, they are strong, and Justin Herbert, I can't bet against them. I'd love to see Lawrence win a playoff game, but I just don't think it happens yet. I'm taking the Chargers in the game of the week.
Well, Jordan, you talked about it, right? Playing good football at the right time. Maybe the Chargers, they're getting healthy at the right time. This is going to be my upset of the week. I'm rolling with the Jaguars. Somehow underdogs at home, and I really don't understand it. Doug Peterson, he's no stranger to the big stage. Brandon Staley, this is his first time head coaching a playoff game. You talked about Justin Herbert. Quite frankly, this season, Trevor Lawrence has been the better quarterback. People aren't ready for that conversation. Sunshine just ellipsed 4,000 yards in that last game against the Tennessee Titans to clinch this playoff spot. The Jaguars, they've won 6 of their last 7. They're really hot, and they're really just riding the hot hand. And until someone proves to me that they could stop them, I really think this Jaguars team, sneaky team that I could see go on a run, especially led by a guy of Peterson's regime. All right, we'll head to the next game. Another one in the AFC, another divisional matchup. The Dolphins, led by Skylar Thompson, they have to take on Josh Allen's Bills. Maybe one not many people will expect to be game of the week, Jordan.
Yeah, I already said mine, and this definitely won't be it. It would be really fun if we had Tua playing. It's a good thing he's not because he needs to sit out. I mean, he can't come back and play with all the concussions that he's had. It's just too dangerous for Tua to come back, especially this soon. We wish him the best. It's been tough to watch that this season. It's also been fun to watch him when he's playing, but I can't bet against the Bills. I mean, right now the script is just written for them to go and win a Super Bowl. They've never done it. Everything that just happened with Damar Hamlin and all that, everyone railing behind the Buffalo Bills, you just can't bet against them. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I know that's not what we're talking about right now, but it starts in this game. I think they're going to run over the Dolphins.
The Bills, they've definitely got that momentum. They have something a little bit extra to play for here. Skylar Thompson, I can't say the same thing. Only mustered 9 points against an albeit good Jets defense, but that was a game you had to win. You had to get in the playoffs. They gave him way too many opportunities. A lot of that came down to the Kansas State kid, Skylar Thompson. As for Tua, you talked about him, 3 concussions, 1 season. It looks very unlikely he will be back at all this postseason. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses time next season. I mean, it's really scary what he's dealing with. You talked about it. The Bills, they've been one of the best teams in football this season. Josh Allen could simply sling it. I like this as your lock of the week. For me, I think there's one I like even more than this. With the Bills, I think they'll get it done pretty handedly. Moving to the next game now, we'll take a look at my game of the week. We've got the 6-seeded Giants at 9-7-1. They'll head to Minnesota to take on the 3-seeded Vikings at 13-4.
What a story the Giants have been this year, right? Because they're a team that they've been in the process of rebuilding over the last couple of years, but nobody really thought that the team that they're set at this year was going to be the one that makes it to the playoffs. But they got it done, and they did it in a really good division in the NFC East, and it's been fun to watch Daniel Jones develop. He's turned into a guy where you could really trust. When my Bears played against Daniel Jones, he was just running all over us, and it's been fun to see his development as a quarterback and also as a runner. Really, I think getting comfortable now in the NFL. And then Saquon Barkley, he's been the workhorse for that team, and another guy where it's really good to see after the injuries that he's had and the slow seasons, he's really getting back to that running back that we knew he was. With that being said, moving to the Vikings side, they're a team that, do you trust them? Do you not? Are they legit? Are they not legit? To be honest, I'm not sure. But I've seen them play, my team's in the division with them. I've watched a lot of their games. That game against the Colts, which is something else. They've had one of those seasons where you might not be the best and the most talented team, but when it comes to sports and really football, the level, the thing that really matters is that you need to know how to win games. And even if your team is not the best, if you're able to pull out wins and beat the other team in the end of the game, then that's all that matters. And the Vikings, they just haven't not done that this year. 11 one-score games, and they've won them all. It's been insane what they've done this year. And it's going to be a one-score game probably again. The Giants are a very worthy opponent, but I think the Vikings, they're just too strong of a team, and they get it done when they have to, so I've got the Vikings in a narrow game.
Well, Jordan, I mean, this is the first time the Vikings have seen the postseason since they fell to the Saints in the Minneapolis Miracle. So you want to talk about a team that's playing for something? That's Minnesota. And I can't say I remember a time where a team had 13 wins and they're being talked about to lose a game as much as people like the Giants in this one. I like what Daniel Jones has been able to do, and Brian Dable, he deserves a lot of credit for that. Saquon Barkley, that Giants offense, it's nothing to scoff at. That's why I like this one for Game of the Week. I think it's going to be a good game. You mentioned it. The Vikings, they have been in a lot of close games this season, 11 to be exact, all of which they won. I like them to win this one, but it'll stay close till the end. Game of the week, give me the Vikings. Next game, another AFC battle. The Ravens 10-7. They'll take on the Bengals. Bengals, they're favored by 6.5 in this one, and for good reason. It looks like Lamar Jackson, he's doubtful to play in this one, Jordan.
Yeah, what they say, it's going to be an uphill battle for him to play, and with everything that's happening with his contract, with them signing Roquan Smith to as big of a deal as they did, which congratulations to Roquan Smith. As a Bears fan, it hurts, but also we love him at heart, and so it's good to see. But what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson after the season, we really don't know. And also, same thing goes for this game. Does he want to play? I know he's a competitor. It's tough to think that he would want to. And I don't even think he's healthy in the first place. So without Lamar Jackson, the Ravens have just looked like a completely different team. The record does not reflect the team that we've seen out there the last couple of weeks. It's the NFL, so anything could happen. But the Bengals, just like last year, they started off slow, but they're getting hot at just the right time. It's tough to bet against Joe Burrow and what the Bengals are doing right now, and against a banged-up Ravens team who might not have their starting quarterback, most likely won't have their starting quarterback, it's going to be the Bengals who win.
I'm going to tell you what right now. Lamar Jackson's got 250 million reasons not to play this game, and that's because until he gets a contract, I wouldn't touch the field, and I don't blame him. He's got a PCL injury that's now lasted over 33 days heading into this matchup, and really I think it comes down to one thing, and it comes down to money. This is the guy who has got them to where they are. 49-21 in games where Lamar has played since his rookie season. Without him, they're a mere 4-8. I mean, it's night and day with Lamar on the field versus him out of it. If he's not playing, this game is just, I mean, it's already over. Give me the Bengals. It's a lock. 6.5 is the line that I'm hammering right now. Really like the Bengals, like what they're building there with Joe Burrow. Joey B, he gets hot at the right time. We saw that little 3-game win streak last postseason. I wouldn't be surprised if they go on a run again, and it'll start here pretty easily against Baltimore. Next game, we're going to go back to the NFC. This is the last one. Monday Night Football matchup. The Cowboys, 12-5. They'll travel to Tampa Bay, the 8-9 Buccaneers, but you can never count out Tom Brady, can you, Jordan?
Well, you've heard people talk all season or towards the end of the season about the NFC South and how abysmal that they have been, but you look at the Buccaneers and they sat some of their starters last week, so what they did, you really can't reflect on that for what their team's going to do towards the future. But you look 2 weeks prior and Tom Brady looked great, Mike Evans looked great. Their defense, I think they're probably the most talented defense in the NFL. They just need to put it together. And so with that being said, they are a really solid team who, with Tom Brady and Mike Evans kind of getting it together at this point, they have a chance to do something special, even with not as great as a record as you'd like to see for a team that's sitting at the 4th seed right now. On the other side, the Cowboys, they struggled last week. That was just hard to watch for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, 15 interceptions this year, tied for the most in the NFL with one Davis Mills, and so that's not a stat where you want to be right now for Dak Prescott. He's struggled, and that's with him missing some games this season as well. I think this is a game where the Cowboys could blow out the Buccaneers just because what the Buccaneers have been and what their record has been. But with what the Bucs have done the past couple of weeks and with the struggles that we've seen from the Cowboys, they just can't seem to find the identity that they had in the middle of the season. I think this is going to be an upset. Even though it's the 4 beating the 5, everyone's picking the Cowboys to beat the Bucs. And so I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say that the Bucs upset the Cowboys in this game.
This one's going to make our graphics gal back there happy. I'm rolling with the Cowboys, and I'll tell you why. The Cowboys are first in the NFL right now in opponent turnovers. They've caused 33 of those this season, tied for 3rd in total sacks with 54. This is a unit that has had at least 3 sacks 10 times this year. Micah Parsons alone, he has the 7th most sacks in the league with 13.5. Quite frankly, this Dallas defense, it is elite, and I like Tom Brady. I really do. But this Buccaneers offense, I mean, they have been a shell of themselves from that Super Bowl team now 2 seasons ago. But Jordan, I'm going to tell you something a little bit interesting. Tom Brady, all time against the Cowboys, 7-0. I think that goes to 7-1 on Monday Night Football. I really like what the Cowboys are cooking. Dak Prescott finally starting to look healthy out there. They are the wild card team, but you mentioned it. Everyone's picking them. They're picking them for good reason.
Yeah, AJ, I have a quick question for you. You talked about the Cowboys defense, and I talked about the Bucs defense. So do you think that the Cowboys defense talent-wise is better than the Bucs.
They are better than the Buccaneers on paper and performance-wise in just about every category. Really like what that entire Dallas team has been able to build, both defensively and offensively, because, yeah, they've got Tom Brady, and Tom Brady in January, he's a different monster. But Kellen Moore, you've got to give credit to what he's been able to do with this Cowboys team, working with Cooper Rush for a little bit of the season. Now he's got Dak back. He's got all of his players. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard. He's got guys living up to the top of their potential. I really like what the Cowboys do on defense, almost like it just as much on offense. I think there's a reason everyone's going with them, and I think Dallas, they'll win their first playoff game in a couple of years now, Jordan.
You talked about the 7-0 record that Brady has against the Cowboys, and we saw that game, this matchup, in the first Sunday night football game of the year, and that was a 19-3 score in favor of the Buccaneers, so it's going to be fun to see that rematch again.
Yeah, a lot can happen over the course of the season. A lot's going to happen in this Super Wildcard weekend. We've got a lot of time to go. Jordan, I think I'm going to leave it off there. That was the HB Toss, made possible by the creative storytellers of Ball State Sports Link. AJ Swiatek for Jordan Klimes. We're signing off.